Hi guys, it's me Isaac, and as you may be able to tell, I'm a pretty big fan of the Flash, so, I have this Flash costume that I like to wear from time to time, and, the mask, it's a little hot, so, I think we're gonna take off the mask for this episode, just a little toasty under the mask, so I think we're gonna remove it for the episode. Hooah! But I'm here to talk to you about the end of Season 4 of The Flash. So, Season 4 of The Flash came around. I don't really watch it on CW because, it's kind of hard to set an hour out of your day at a preset time to watch a TV show. So I usually wait for it to come out on Netflix and then I catch up on it. And this time when Season 4 came out on Netflix, I heard it was kind of bad. I heard, the ending wasn't actually all that great, and so that left me a little worried about Season 4 of Flash. So I went through it. The whole time I was kind of worried, like, uh-oh, when's this gonna get bad? Is this gonna get a little bad? Oh, what about now, And luckily, I thought the season as a whole was pretty strong. I thought there was a lot of fun moments, a lot of fun concepts that they brought through in the season. I thought the Thinker was an excellent villain. But the season finale left me wanting a little bit more. So essentially today I want to make this video to talk about how I wanted to change the ending of The Flash to kind of, maybe give my rendition of how I think it should have ended and maybe what it would have been a better ending. But before I get into that, I should probably start off by giving you guys a quick summary of the season. So essentially in Season 3, the Flash got trapped in the Speed Force, and so Season 4 starts out with him being released, but when he exits the Speed Force at the beginning of Season 4, he accidentally creates 12 metahumans. The villain of this season, the Thinker, planned where the Flash was going to exit the Speed Force, so essentially the dark matter that came out of the Speed Force would create 12 metahumans that then he could jump through and take all their powers, so that way he could use their powers to then enlighten the world, which is essentially... He went into space and he had all these satellites and he was trying to shoot the world with a dumb laser so that way he could rule the entire world. And at the end of the season, the Thinker has actually managed to get through all of the metahumans' bodies and he has all their powers now. The whole season, the Flash has been trying to get to them first to try and save them, but he's failed. The final person the Thinker jumps to is Elastic Man, so that's kind of the body he resides in. And Elastic Man's kind of close to the Flash, they were good buddies, and then Elastic Man got taken over by the Thinker, so that really hurt Flash emotionally. He was really scarred from that. But what's interesting is him being in Elastic Man's body kind of sets up a lot of interesting plot points that I don't think they necessarily tackled in the season finale. Alright, so you guys now know that the Thinker has roughly 11 powers. He took over every single one of the metahumans' bodies minus Fallout. Fallout he kind of used as a battery, so he never took control of Fallout, so he doesn't have Fallout's powers. But let's go over all the powers the Thinker has at this moment, just to give you guys an idea of how cool the Thinker actually is as a villain right now. So he starts out, he's super smart. That's like his base power. But on top of that, we're going to give you a quick rundown of every metahuman he's absorbed. So first off, we have Becky, aka Hazard, who has the power of luck. We have Mina Shaitan, aka the Black Bison, who could turn inanimate objects into living objects that would then attack other people. We have Ramsey Deacon, aka Kilgore, who could control electronics. We have the Weeper, who actually got beat up so much in the series we never even really got to know his full name. Like he got beat up by like everybody. But essentially he could cry tears that would give people a sense of euphoria. We have Izzy Brown, aka the Fiddler, probably one of the worst names in the entire history of superhero names. But she's kind of like Black Canary, where she could project sound waves. She had a violin and she'd play the violin and it'd shoot out little sound waves. We have Matthew Kim, aka Melting Point, who had the power to swap people's power. So he could take someone's power and then transfer it to someone else. They actually had a fun episode where Iris became the Flash because the Flash's powers went over to Iris. That was a fun episode. We have Janet Petty, aka Null, who could make objects heavier or lighter. We had Edwin Goss, aka Pocket Man, who could create portals to pocket dimensions. It was pretty much teleporting. That's essentially what his power was. We have Dominic Lance, aka Brainstorm, who could read minds and alter memories. We have Silbert Rundine, aka Dwarfstar, who could shrink or enlarge objects. And then finally, we ended with Ralph Dibny, aka Elastic Man. I think we all know Elastic Man, but he's super durable. He can transform into pretty much anything, and he can transform into other people. And of course, I forgot to mention Neil Borman, aka Fallout, who released radiation, but he doesn't really matter because the Thinker didn't absorb Fallout, so the Fallout's just kind of there. He's not really important to the season finale in terms of the powers, because all he does is blow up in the season finale, so that's it. He's not really relevant outside of that. Alright, so right there, the Thinker has 11 powers, plus his super intelligence. So, I mean, guys, that's pretty awesome. At least when we compare it to the past villains the Flash has had. We have Reverse Flash, we have Zoom, and we had Savitar, who were all pretty much the same. I mean, they had different motivations, but they were just fast guys. You know, you had the fast CGI fight scene, and those weren't bad, but I mean, come on, weren't we kind of bored of those? But what's really interesting about the Thinker is he's not fast. He's fast in the mind, but he's not fast physically. And that with all these powers, it's, oh my gosh, like, they set up an incredible fight scene, and they did deliver on an incredible fight scene, but it wasn't in the season finale. Alright, so this is probably one of the best fight scenes in all of CW history. Episode 22, I believe, Think Fast, where the Thinker single-handedly invades an Argus facility, and oh my, like, this fight scene, it's on the level of the Daredevil hallway fight scene. Like, this was an incredible fight scene. It really showed off how powerful the Thinker became. You know, usually when he fights the Flash, he'd just be like, sound wave, and he'd push him away or something like that. But this battle, the Thinker used every single power in his arsenal, and it was mind-blowing what he did. So, alright, he starts out, he shrinks one of the guards, and then he steps on one of the guards. I mean, that's, like, that was intense right there. Because, you know, every time somebody shrinks down, like when a supervillain shrinks somebody down, you're always like, oh, geez, what if they step on him? But, like, no TV show ever really tackles that because it's so, like, brutal. Like, that's a really brutal way to go. And that's how the Thinker, a CW, like, Flash, that's how it starts out. He steps on a guard, like, ooh, man, and then he's fighting all 10 of these guards, and he's like projecting sound waves. He lifts some of them up in the air. The other two pull the guns out at him. He makes them heavy so they can't use the guns. Somebody launches a grenade at him. He teleports the grenade somewhere else so it blows up some other guards. He reflects some of the bullets shot at him with Elastic Man's powers. Then he uses Black Bison's power to turn the dead guards into zombie guards to attack the alive guards. I mean, all while they, like, have some opera stuff playing in the background. You know, he gets tased, and then he reflects the taser waves back at the guards with Kilgore's powers. I mean, it was an incredible fight scene. Like, it was just so well choreographed. Everything came together. It was, I mean, it was an impressive fight scene. You know, CW, it's a good network, but, you know, it's usually just, like, it floats on that level of, like, good enough. You know, it's like, oh, I enjoy this. Like, it's good. It's not like, you're not breaking any, like, wow, this is like the best fight scene, or this is the best drama I've ever seen in my life. But that scene right there with the Thinker, it was one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. That was an incredible fight scene, and it's set up, you know, you're like, wow, this is cool. I can't wait to see the Flash fight Thinker with all the Thinker's powers. But unfortunately, that's not how this season ends. What actually happens is they decide to go into the Thinker's mind to try to find the good in the Thinker, to then bring the good out, so that way the good could take over the bad side of the Thinker's mind, which I think was kind of weird. I don't know, that seemed kind of flimsy. You know, usually they just say some science mumbo-jumbo, and they're like, that's why we're doing it. And, you know, this, they're like, okay, we're gonna get the good in his mind to take over the bad part of his mind, and that just felt kind of flimsy to me. But it did lead to some cool moments. A bone-chilling moment for the Thinker was when they go to find the good part of the Thinker, and they find the good part, and he's shot dead. I mean, that was an impressive scene right there, where you see the good part, like, dead with a bullet hole in his chest. I mean, that was an intense scene. I remember seeing it, I was like, whoa, like, I was like, that's deep. I think that was probably another one of the best scenes for CW. I mean, I think the Thinker just led to so many awesome scenes. And, you know, you're in the Thinker's mind. His name is the Thinker, so you'd imagine he could do some pretty cool stuff in his mind. So here they are. They discover that the good Thinker's dead. So he does find Ralph Dibny inside of the Thinker's mind, because that's the body he resides in. So that way, you know, Ralph Dibny's conscience is still kind of floating around inside the Thinker's mind. And what they essentially changed their plan to is they'd say that, you know, hey, if we can get Ralph to the nexus of the Thinker's mind, Ralph can regain control of his body, which I think is a completely reasonable thought to have in a superhero TV show. I mean, reasonable for superheroes. I think they should have just started out with that. I think that makes more sense. Like, why didn't they just start out with, hey, we're going to go in and get Ralph. We're going to go put Ralph back in control of the body, and said, let's go find the good side. But it did lead to a cool scene where we got to see the good side of him dead, so, you know, pros and cons with that. So it leads to this okay fight scene where it's not really using the Thinker's powers. Like, they could have been fighting anybody right there when they were fighting thousands of them. The Thinker barely used his mind control powers, and they beat it by thinking about lobster dishes, and that was only one of the, like, I guess if you count his brain power, he was using 2 of his 12 powers, really, in that fight. That wasn't really what I thought the Thinker was set out to be. It was sort of anticlimactic. It was just like, I mean, they led to some fun moments where, like, the Flash spun around Elastic Man. Like, that was a cool combo move that kind of showed off both of their powers, but it wasn't really what I was was looking for with the Thinker. I wanted to see something on the level of that scene we saw back in episode 22 of Think Fast. So essentially what happens is somehow the Flash and them manage to run over all the DeVoes, and he throws Ralph into the nexus of DeVoe's mind. And so then it leads to the scene where DeVoe's kind of like seizuring out on the ground, and he's like, how could this happen? And they're all like, yeah, well, we're the Flash, of course we won, you know? I thought it was also another bone-chilling scene where he's like realizing he's losing himself, and he's kind of just fading out of existence to a certain extent. And I thought that was another very good scene for the Thinker, but it didn't really sink, you know. I kind of felt like they realized that Matrix battle they had inside of the Thinker's mind was sort of anticlimactic, and it wasn't what people were looking for. So they add some more climactic moments to the season finale to try to get you to feel like, oh, that was a satisfying ending. So we have the Thinker kind of spaz out at the end, and everybody's like, kind of, whoa, what's happening with the Thinker? We have Cecile have her baby. Who cares? I don't know. That's not really what I came to the Flash for, so that didn't really do it for me for like a climactic ending to the season. We have the Thinker come back for like 30 seconds in his chair as a digital recreation, but for no reason, because his wife just unplugs him and then he dies again. So I feel like they were trying to be like, oh, look at this, isn't this an exciting ending? And then they had the fourth thing where like the satellites that the Thinker was using to shoot down the dumb lasers were falling, and the Flash had to like punch it to destroy it. And they're like, oh, isn't that climactic? Are you guys satisfied with that? Like, isn't that an exciting ending? And again, that wasn't really what I was looking for. I was looking for that exciting battle with Flash against Thinker using all of Thinker's powers. So here's how I'd fix Season 4's ending. So I'd keep the whole idea that we go into the Thinker's mind. I'd skip the whole, hey, we need to find the good part of him. If they want to find the good part of him dead, they could still accidentally find the good part of him dead. But that's such a flimsy logic. Like, oh, there must be a good part with a bad part inside the mind. Like, even for Flash, I thought that was kind of flimsy science. But what does make sense is that Ralph Dibny's inside his mind. I mean, if it was Ralph Dibny's body, of course Ralph Dibny's floating around inside DeVoe's head. So I think that makes a lot of sense there to just start out with that. Let's find Ralph. And then what I kind of want to happen is, as the Flash is traveling around the Thinker's mind, I kind of want him to sort of find remnants of all the other people he's absorbed. Because the Thinker has absorbed 10 other people by this point, all the other metahumans, and I kind of want him to find the other metahumans, like minds kind of stuck inside the Thinker's head. You know, they kind of found Ralph Dibny walking around inside the Thinker's head. I kind of want him to find the other 10 metahumans also walking around inside of the Thinker's head. And I want the Flash to realize that the only way to really win this is if they all come together. And so we could have a fun episode where he's traveling around the Thinker's head and he's finding all the metahumans, and because they're all spread across his head and it's a big place in there, so he like spends an episode, he finds every single person. You know, he'll find Becky, he'll find Dwarfstar, he'll find Kilgore, he'll find all of them sort of walking around kind of defeated. You know, they realize, you know, if they're inside DeVoe's head, that means they already lost and they're dead, because when DeVoe travels from body to body, I mean, he disposes the past body, so like they can't go back to their body. I mean, they're just waiting to die essentially inside the Thinker's mind. And so what happens is the Flash kind of recruits them to have one final battle against the Thinker. I think this would be awesome because I thought those actors were underutilized. I thought all the metahumans had a lot more potential to be seen throughout the series. I thought they were all underdeveloped. I thought they all had interesting stories that weren't exactly finished. I think it brings up more emotional problems for the Flash because he felt guilty for nearly every single one of them dying. Elastic Man with the Fiddler, you know, they kind of had a thing going for a bit. I imagine Elastic Man would feel guilty to see the Fiddler again. Lots of interesting things they could do with these characters, getting to see them again. You know, if you wanted to have all the remnants of the past metahumans inside the Thinker's mind, you could even have like the Fiddler and Elastic Man kind of enjoy it inside of the Thinker's mind because they're together in there, and you know, maybe Elastic Man doesn't want to leave. A lot of cool emotional problems you could face getting to meet all the supervillains again, but you know, the supervillains would be motivated to help out the Flash because they just want to die. You know, they're tired of floating around inside DeVoe's mind. They know there's no way back, and they accept that the only thing that's going to happen is DeVoe dies, and then they die with DeVoe, and that could lead to the Flash being like, I gotta save everybody, but like they're like, no, you can't save us, just we'll help you defeat DeVoe. And so this would lead to an exciting battle, you know, kind of go back to where they're fighting DeVoe towards the center of the nexus of his mind. And so we have DeVoe, and then we have the Flash with the other 11 metahumans that have been absorbed. And so no extra DeVoes, you know, I don't want a Matrix battle in the end of my Flash. I want a Flash battle at the end of the Flash. And so one DeVoe. Now you can go crazy with what the Thinker does. I mean, we're inside the Thinker's mind. I'll reiterate, the Thinker inside the Thinker's mind he could probably do some more interesting stuff than Control C and Control Ving himself. So I'd just be really excited to see like the Thinker using all his powers, taking on all the metahumans, and they'd be sort of balanced to a certain extent because the only powers that the Thinker has are those metahumans' powers, so it kind of lead to them working together. You know, the metahumans have to learn how to team up to fight the Thinker. You know, I just kind of want to see something similar to what we saw before with the Thinker when he was fighting off all those guards, except this time now he's fighting off the metahumans, so it'd be a little more meaningful instead of just random guards where you're like, who cares about the guards, you know? I mean, the powers that the metahumans have are really cool, and they're all like sort of minor powers, but when they're combined together, there's a lot of potential for like team-up effects with them, and I'd just be super excited to get to see the metahumans work together with the Flash in order to take down the Thinker one last time. And so, you know, we have this epic battle going on inside the Thinker's mind, so how can we ramp that up? Now, I think what I'd want to have happen is the metahumans are essentially losing. I mean, because the Thinker's just so smart, they're inside the Thinker's head. Even with all of them combined, they're still outmatched for the Thinker. And so now I want to have a little bit of character development for Dwarfstar, kind of an underdeveloped character. We know he was a bit of a gym rat back in the day, as he says. So I want him to look at the Flash, I want him to say like, kid, I've been in a lot of fights back in my day, and I can tell that this is a losing one. He's like, get Ralph to the Nexus and we'll hold off the Thinker while you do that. And so this could lead to some dramatic, you know, put some sad music in the background while the Thinker dramatically kills all the metahumans again inside his mind. You know, you could go crazy with the Thinker killing them, make it like super sad. You know, Ralph would be sad because the Fiddler's gonna die again. The Flash would be sad because, you know, he's gonna see Becky die again, who he felt guilty for. You know, you could have it all super sad as the Flash like runs to the portal. You know, maybe even he goes back and then Ralph's like, no, we gotta get to the Nexus. You know, you could do a lot of, you know, really depressing stuff as the Thinker kills him, but it'd be super climactic because you'd be like, you know, here they go dying again. You know, the metahumans that were somewhat evil have, you know, realized the error of their ways and they're sacrificing themselves to save the day. So then the rest of the season finale could still go the same way. Dibney gets out, you know, and then we have a climactic ending, so they don't really have to harp on the fact that Cecile had a baby, or now there's a satellite falling, or oh no, DeVoe put himself into his chair, so now he's digital. Like, I don't know, a lot of that stuff, like, kind of like they're just trying to hope to make you happy if you weren't quite happy with the Matrix ending. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about my rendition of how I kind of wanted The Flash Season 4 to end. I think there's a lot of potential there, but I think they kind of missed it a bit with going for a more Matrix-style ending, but let me know what you think down below. My name's Isaac, and I'll see you guys later. Signing off, guys.
I look